So Ted went to the stairwell, the same stairwell where I wish they killed off Grayson. Hello, fellow Beyond the Gates viewers. Here to talk about today's Wednesday episode. I thought it was a really good episode today. Despite some things I don't really care about being on today's episode, Ashley, and even the Nicole and Kial stuff, but I'll still talk about it. We had some great scenes today, some powerful scenes today, so let's get right into it. Leslie and Ted started today's episode at Eva's side as she was hooked up to the breathing machine. Ted tries to get Leslie to stay strong and positive, telling Leslie she raised their daughter to fight, and Leslie said that she did. Shanice had to even be nice to Leslie today, although I think deep down Shanice is a good person who obviously cares a lot being a nurse. We saw her after the tornado busting her ass. Shanice came in to check on Eva and told Ted that Martin wants to talk. And yeah, like I said, Shanice was the bigger person with Leslie today who needed some comfort. And she told Leslie that for once they're on the same side, Team Eva. And Leslie told Shanice that she's being generous and that she could tell when she walked in that she realizes that Martin nor Smitty were a match either. And then once Shanice left, Leslie was at Eva's side saying they just need one person to come through when they're alone. But as Leslie went to talk to the unconscious Eva, I really enjoyed their scenes today. There was a lot of emotion in them. I think Trish, who plays Leslie, that's her name, right? Trisha Mangrant. Trissa did good today in the scenes as Leslie, because they were not so over the top as some have been this week, even though I was fine with those over the top scenes too. Leslie was more emotional in these scenes with some real tears, talking about how she feels like life has slipped away. She remembers when Eva was a young kid falling asleep in her book. Reading her books after hours was the worst thing that she did. I like that they tied that Eva likes to read so much into this memory of Leslie's to pull at our heartstrings. Then Leslie remembered when Eva got a little older and wanted to wear what she wanted to wear, even if it looked goofy. And then Leslie said she is nothing without her. Leslie also talked about how Eva saw the worst in her but loves her anyway, and that Eva is better than she ever could be. Leslie even apologized today to Eva, saying that all the time she said mean things without thinking about the consequences. She's sorry for that, which is a big step for Leslie. We almost never hear her apologize. She also talked about how Eva deserved better than Alan, her stepfather, and that she should have told Eva about her father, Ted, a long time ago because he's a good man. So yeah, I thought these Leslie scenes talking about the past with Eva they were good dialogue for me. And then at the end, Izaiah came back to comfort Leslie, saying they will get Eva through this, they will find a way. But at the beginning of the episode, Izaiah was with Kat in the stairwell. He's the one that went after Kat when Kat ran off. He's asking if she is all right. Izaiah says there's only one way to find out if Kat can save Eva's life, and that's to get tested. Kat doesn't know why everyone is putting this on her, and says she is not stepping into that line. These scenes were good because Kat had points, but Izaiah also had points because Izaiah was talking about how he sees the way that Kat has treated Eva like scum since he's been back in town, and admits that what Leslie did was basically fucked up to Kat's family. But Izaiah was saying that this is bigger than that. However, Kat doesn't want to test positive because she would have to give a piece of her body to someone who can't stand her and someone that slept with her boyfriend and then covered up attempted murder for Eva's mother. Kat had points there. I mean, I don't love Kat bringing up the Tomas stuff because Kat has never actually truly blamed Tomas for his part in that. She swept it under the rug as soon as it happened so that she could still be mad at Eva. So, bringing that up annoyed me, but I still understand the point that Kat was trying to make here. Izaiah said that basically this must be how Kat thinks she's going to get revenge. leaving her sister to die, he asks Kat, what the hell is wrong with you? Kat says that she wouldn't have wished this on her. And Izaiah says that Kat has no compassion because she doesn't seem to realize that Eva is dying. Izaiah asked how Miss Moral High Ground will deal with it if Eva dies. That was a good point that Izaiah made for me. Because Kat has always acted uppity and better than and judgmental. And so Izaiah throwing that in Kat's face, I get it. But I also get what a lot of you were saying in the comments yesterday, that this is Kat's choice. It's a big deal to be a donor. It's her body. I think the medical side of Kat's doubts is very fair. Martin, at the beginning of the episode, was still going off about Kat to Smitty, that he doesn't know what Kat was thinking. Smitty was saying that Kat could still be in shock from the tornado. What I did like from these scenes was that Martin was very thankful to Shanice when Shanice came around because of all she did at the club after the tornado, which I agree, because Shanice was busting her ass as a nurse after that tornado. But it was then that Martin and Smitty learned that they are not matches for Eva. And Martin told Ted, when Ted came out to hear the bad news, that Kat should be considering getting tested, but that Kat ran away when he asked her to do it. A lot of people were upset with the Martin character yesterday on social media. I can't lie, I like when Martin is more feisty. I would love them to keep Martin feisty like he was at the beginning of this show, with some anger issues, especially now that he hit his head again. Maybe that could be what brings the old Martin back out. But Martin is always harsh on Kat when it comes to the situation with Eva especially. And Martin loves to throw the princess stuff in Kat's face. Ted's told Martin that it takes Kat a while to wrap her mind around things, especially when it comes to medical stuff. And Smitty wants to get Martin home because he still needs rest. Ted was also talking to Izaiah, who was still upset about the confrontation with Kat. Ted wanted Izaiah to calm down and wanted to know where Kat was. So Ted went to the stairwell, the same stairwell where I wish they killed off Grayson. Ted went to find Kat there and hugged her. I think Keith, who plays Ted, has done a great job these past several episodes too, especially the Kat and Ted scenes. Like, Colby's been knocking it out of the park with everybody, but I do feel like the Kat and Ted scenes especially have been very, very well done. Kat talked about how she wants to be able to be responsible for her life and her body, but everyone is acting like there is only one choice to make and acts like her answer is the wrong answer, and everyone is putting pressure on her. And once again, I think Kat was being very understandable here. She says that Ted is also putting pressure on her, even though he said she wasn't. She's saying he's doing it the more kinder, gentler version of pressure. Kat says nobody gives a damn if she has reasons for her decision. Nobody sees her anymore, just see a body who should be ready to be used for spare parts. Ted said he doesn't just see Kat as being used for spare parts. Ted talked about Kat being the miracle baby and about some of the things that happened when she was growing up. Ted says that Kat has to make the hard choices now because she's grown up. I do feel like a part of this is the show saying that Kat does need to grow up. Kat does act spoiled, has ever since the show started. And I do feel like Kat has a hard time dealing with the real world and this whole situation that fucked up her life, which is, Leslie caused, but Eva was a part of it. Kat asked the question to Ted that if she says no, will he ever be able to forgive her? Ted said that's not a great question. Kat wants to go, and Ted, I guess, to think about it more, but Ted doesn't want her to go because Ted thinks time is running out. Kat basically admitted to Ted that she doesn't want to be a match, started to run off. Ted says, do it for me, not Eva, but Kat ran off anyway. It was another powerful scene at the end here. Very well done. This show struggles to build things these days, especially this year. But I do feel like building to this certain storyline, they've done a good job of it. Even in the live chat today for the watch along, there was disagreements between what Kat should do, what Kat shouldn't do. And I don't know where I stand exactly. My whole thing is, though, Isaiah's words about Kat being Miss Moral High Ground hit the hardest. Because if Kat was in the situation, even if Leslie was being a bitch, I do think Eva would have done the right thing and donated to Kat. And even that being the case, that still doesn't mean that Kat needs to do that. But since that is the case, I think I'm more team Kat should maybe do the right thing here. But I do understand what everyone says, that it is Kat's body and Kat's choice 100%. I do get annoyed though because Kat stans just hate Eva. And I don't feel like it's the opposite way with Eva stans. Anyway, Ashley was on today. Not going to talk about it much because I was not paying attention during the watch along, because Ashley definitely was not needed in today's episode whatsoever. But Jan was happy to see that her daughter was okay, fine. Grayson called Ashley at one point, not fine. Ashley was crying about Derek again, double not fine. And let's move on. Kial and Nicole video called at the beginning of today's episode, with Kial checking up on Nicole after the tornado. She told the story about Martin having a concussion. Left out the tree part at first, but Kial did come over and they talked about it more. They embraced. She caught him up on the injuries. Nicole kept breaking down during these scenes about how horrific the tornado was and the tree crashing and falling on Martin. And then after doing all this crying and really seeming like the tornado hit her hard, she was going to take Kial to the bedroom. Luckily for us, we didn't have to see Nicole be Nicole today, because Kial just wanted to hold Nicole in his arms while she sleeps. She says this is their first real sleepover with him really being there just to sleep. They have not done a good job of making me invested in Nicole and Kial together. They just haven't. I think the whole storyline of Nicole's sexual liberation and this love triangle with her and Carlton, they did not do a good job with it. They wrote Carlton and Kial as younger than they actually are and just not realistic to me. So that has kind of hurt things on the Kial and Nicole pairing that I thought coming into I would like, because they have some chemistry, but not enough chemistry for me to be invested in them right now. I guess maybe they could find a way to make me more invested in them as a couple, but right now that is not it. However, it was another strong episode in what has been a strong week. I've actually been enjoying this week more than last week, even though last week we had a tornado to go through. But they've really done a good job with the cat scenes. Colby's done a great job acting the cat scenes. The Cat and Ted stuff today was good, but also the Leslie and Eva stuff today was good, with Leslie reminiscing about Eva. There's been definitely points in the Cat and Eva rivalry where stuff got very stale and very old, and the triangle with Tomas sucked ass, but it's good to see that we've had a good enough build for these scenes to be so powerful this week.